Good morning, everybody, and this is Imaginary Dreams with another process art video. In this case, we are doing an art contest for a Twitch streamer named Sing Sing, and the theme is to draw one of his sort of mascots or named Beaver Knight. I'm not sure about the history of it too clearly, but it seems to be a type of courier in the game Dota 2 that carries items to the players within the map, and someone made the courier that looks like a beaver knight, and this Twitch streamer Sing Sing seems to be very fond of it and calls him out quite often throughout the game, and so it just became synonymous of his character. So draw Beaver Knight in this Christmas contest, and here I'm just doing a quick sketch. I already did a sketch on paper before, but didn't really want to sort of scan and draw on top of that. Want to just redraw everything digitally all over again and try something a little bit different here as well. So we also have one of the new mascots in the Artifact game, a new Valve game that they made on their own, a card game based on the Dota 2 lore, and the streamer Sing Sing has been playing that much more often compared to Dota 2. So here I would like to draw his Beaver Knight playing the game Artifact, in fact, and his dog is sleeping very peacefully behind the Beaver Knight as he's playing cards. And again, the mascot of the Artifact game is on the side trying out the Beaver Knight's helmet. And I don't remember the name of the mascot itself, but it's supposed to be like an assistant to you. It gives you cards. It acts in the various ways when you are doing well and you're about to beat the enemy, or when you are about to lose a tower and take a lot of damage. It's a very good character, an interactive character for you to see in the Artifact game, and I am very fond of it. And now we're going into more hard lines and just use one of the Photoshop tools to just give us a easy curve. Why try to draw it by hand when you have many other different tools to give you smooth curves instead? Trying to use a different brush, and it kind of shifts the perspective of the recording software. Do apologize for that. And just adding a little bit more details and making sure that the clothing of the Beaver Knight does not tangentially cross with the leg of the dog behind him, going around in the legs and just smoothing those ripples out nicely. Beforehand, I had to do a little bit research, of course, on the pose of how does a hand would look holding cards and where the thumb would be. Here his hand is just resting on the dog and just giving it a nice rub, as he's very confident in this game, no stress at all. And I added a second layer to the helmet itself, so it just separates the I don't want to say monster, but I don't know his name, but the creature, and the helmet goes up on top. And here, and when we go into the coloring side, even though things won't be seen, I just draw the full character. Even though the helmet might be blocking, or that the Beaver Knight is blocking the dog, I still make sure to draw the whole dog instead of just drawing what would be seen, because in the end it would be colored. And as we will soon see with this artifact creature, we will see through the helmet's openings a little bit, and we will see his inner eye and a little bit of his horn. A very fascinating creature within the game of Artifact. It could blink around and it could fly, but maybe I might have forgotten its wings. Just a small detail that I've missed. And here is just another curve tool just to give me a nice straight round curve on the helmet's fur ribbon. I'm not sure what's it called. The Beaver Knight's bag, just a little bit, and then the deck of cards. Now usually in the game, and if you don't know or have not seen the artifact game, it's technically that creature is just about as big as the deck of cards, but because of this, and when I was testing out the drawing on paper, I really wanted the creature to be clear within the image, and so if I had to scale it properly and make him as small as those cards, because the Beaver Knight has to be holding those cards as well, he wouldn't really be noticeable in the image. So I just took the creative liberty of just changing the size of the cards and the size of the artifact creature. Now into the coloring stage of flattening out, wanting a very sort of smooth green, well, not smooth green, but a stylistic tonal green grass from foreground to background. This is very inspired from the recent Hilda series animation in Netflix. If you have not seen that, be sure to go watch it. It's a very good and pleasant animation show, and using some of the other fan arts of the Beaver Knight to get a little bit of what kind of color tones they're using as a starting point. And here looking at what the actual artifact cards looks like, and just painting it out, and now I'm coloring the actual creature now. But I did a small mistake of like leaving some of the arms to be colored, so I have to erase that out easily and manually. And now just going through the eyes, paying attention on how it's a little bit highlighted. Not still like in the process of improving these individual aspects of like what eyes look like. Like, I will admit I'm not too pleased with how the Beaver Knight eyes look. He looks a little bit too sort of serious, and that's sometimes a little bit creepy. Even looking at the other Beaver Knight versions, it looks so much better, but I just accept that it's as good as it's going to be now, and the improvements will come at a later stage. Now just adding a few more colors to the bag, a little bit of shading and a little bit of extra colors on the grass, so it brings the ground a little bit to life, especially with how the grass are appearing through and covering some of the Beaver Knight's legs. Just gives it a little bit more dimension. And in the past previous frame just now, you can see like all the different reference that I use for this artwork. And now drawing the actual board of the artifact game, just drawing one of the towers so people can know like, oh, this is the actual board card game itself. But later I decided that it's best not to add it in. I did not record that process because basically I just took it out because it seems to be just too jarring and taking away from the main topic, which is the Beaver Knight himself. So I decided to take out the board. The board doesn't look too nice, and I didn't want to spend the time to actually add detail to it because it's not that important. And the tower itself, stylistically and the way I shaded, doesn't look consistent with the other ways I shaded the other characters, as the Beaver Knight, the dog, and the other creature himself. So this is the final version, and like added a little bit more shadow under the kilt that he's wearing, and a little bit more shading on the helmet and the red areas, and a little bit more highlights on the dog sleeping very happily. And now because of the crop itself, we can like sort of center our eyes to the beaver, and I think the cards itself with this yellow and bright contrast, we can still clearly see that it's the Dota game. The logo itself might be a little bit small, but now we can see like the process from the sketching and then flattening of the colors. Made a small mistake of like going through and adding shading when I shouldn't have, because I should put in another layer, and this is more highlights and shading. And then I decided to, with the space that I cropped out, what would it look like if the streamer Sing Sing would just add his sort of social links that most streamers do and what the title card would look like. And so that's the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed this drawing process and commentary, and I'll see you all next time. Good night.